Hello, hello, listeners of Align with Your Dharma. I'm so excited, so excited. It's almost end of July, and I am excited for multiple reasons. Because I attended a retreat to rejuvenate myself over the weekend to help a fellow coach conduct the retreat. And while I was attending the retreat, I got stung by a bumblebee, but I got a wonderful lesson coming out of it. Um, so I'm going to implement whatever lessons I've learned in my life going forward. And the second reason why I am so excited is because I have this beautiful individuals that I'm going to talk with today, and I am sure both of them will inspire you and motivate you to move forward in whatever actions you are planning to take and you're hesitant about. After you listen to these both of these individuals who we are going to talk with, you will certainly be inspired, I guarantee you. So who am I talking with? It is Ben and his wife Heidi. And Ben is in the financial world. He's a financial representative. Outside of that, he is a professional level power lifter. Yes, power lifter. And he has competed in international powerlifting and strongman meets. He has deadlifted 1010 in strongman and has benched over 700 pounds in powerlifting. And if you think that is amazing, listen to what his wife does. She's a mother of two, 1 year old and a 4 year old. She is amazing woman. And I think she's amazing because she's not only a beautiful mom and a beautiful wife, uh, she has competed. Come on. She has competed in both strongman, I'm going to say strong woman, and powerlifting. And she in this year alone, in 2025 year alone, after having two children, 1 year old and 4 year old, she just finished the World Strength Games and International Strongman Meet. Isn't she an amazing woman or what? So she won the 64 kg class and set a world record. Listeners of Align with Your Dharma, I did not misspell that. She set a world record by carrying 208-pound natural stone, 184 feet. Woo woo! Go Heidi! So she has now set her sights on setting the world record total for 132-pound weight class. So, without further ado, I am sure you're excited to see and talk to Ben and Heidi. I am super excited to talk and pick her brain and how she's amazing and balancing, right? Balancing being a mom and being a wife and still accomplishing whatever she wants to accomplish. And she won't be able to do this without her wonderful husband, right? So, okay, without further ado, Ben and Heidi, thank you so much for willing to come on to Align with Your Dharma podcast and inspire all my listeners. So, oh my God, where do I start? Okay, so I'm going to start with asking Heidi first. How do you define success? Has that definition changed from the time, um, you know, before you got married or before you had children to now that you have two children, beautiful children, and um, then you have accomplished all of this? Has that definition of success changed over time?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. How do you
Um,
define success?
I define success probably as setting a goal and following through is a success. But that doesn't mean you ever stop having goals. You just keep dreaming bigger and
Mm,
building upon what you've built. Every day you're just building and building. So before I had kids, it was mostly about my personal happiness and success in my life. And then after I had kids, it's every day seeing them learn more on their own and be more independent is so inspiring to me, because I think I'm on my right track. They're on a really good track as well. So seeing them succeed has really changed my definition.
How do you define Ben?
Yeah, something very along the lines. I sometimes think that maybe we won't ever see if I'm successful or not in my life because I kind of define success by my kids now. Like if I can raise strong leaders in
Mm.
my if my kids are strong leaders, then technically I'm a success. So the question is like, will I get to see that in my lifetime? Maybe, maybe not. But if the success, in my opinion, is remembered by others. My grandpa was a very successful man, and it's remembered multiple generations down. And that's how I define success.
It's beautiful. That's heartfelt. That is authentic. Beautiful. Um, um, so Ben, did you start with the weightlifting, powerlifting first, or did you start as a financial representative first? Tell me how you got started and what drew you towards the weightlifting, powerlifting? Does it play a role? You know, does one sync with the other?
Yeah, so that's kind of a long story, but basically, I was really big into sports, really big into football, basketball, baseball. My family kind of pushed me in. Me and my dad, when we were real little, we had a concrete weight set. It was just a normal straight bar with concrete weights, and I would beg my dad to go up there. I'm like, Dad, let's go, let's go, let's go. And he would come up there, sometimes. And my dad was a super strong. My whole family's been strong. And he would lift with us every once in a while. And those memories are like still ingrained. When I got into high school, I got into like even more like, okay, now we got real weight sets and stuff. And my grandpa one time, my grandpa was like my role model. And he looked at me, he's like, Ben, how tall are you? I was like, I'm like 5'11" or 5'10" or whatever. And he's like, you're going to be a big man. And then ever since then, I've wanted to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But I've lifted, weights all the way through the Marine Corps. Then I went to play college football up in New York. I lifted weights all through then. And then really what happened is once my athletic career, I keep saying all the time, like, young kids don't understand that someday the time that you're going to get to play football or the time that you're going to get to play the sport, it's going to come to an end. Even professional athletes don't get to do it forever. Maybe you get to do it when you're 16. Maybe you get told that when you're 25 or 35 or 40. But at some point in time, you actually have to like go into a real job. You know what I mean? So that happened to me pretty much after college. Once college was done, my competitive collegiate career was over. And then it was like, well, what do I do with all this time? And I just got into powerlifting and I started actually powerlifting to become good at strongman. When I was in the Marine Corps, I met a guy, his name was Bryce, and he had successfully pulled a C-130 15 feet. And I remember thinking, like, this is what I want to do. And then I was asking him, like, well, how do I start? How do I start, strongman? How do I do flip tires? How do I press logs? And he said, well, you need to get into powerlifting, squat, bench, deadlift, do speed work, and then do max effort, work on top of that. So I started reading, but I did not know what I was doing. And I kind of did that, through college. And then I ran into a guy in New York named Mike Girardi, and he kind of took me under his wing, and we started going. That's the first time that I had benched over 315 because I have really long arms, but I'd actually pulled 600. And then I did a competition where I pulled 600 and I was the last deadlift. And I was like, oh, I could be really good at this. So that kind of inspired me. And then basically, I went to college for healthcare leadership and management was my degree. When we when I was doing that, I had competed at the Arnold Classic. I think I finished third at that meet. And one of the guys at Westside Barbell, Matt Smith, had actually told me, he's like, "Hey, come to Westside in the morning." Well, I just got done competing and I went to Westside in the morning, and Louis Simmons kind of gave me a an invitation, as you would, to come up, as much as I could and start training. And I was, trying to get to Columbus and doing everything I could. She was actually the one. She's like, "I want to see the world's best female powerlifting team," which happened to be right here in Cincinnati. And I was like, one day I booked a hotel. We drove up to Cincinnati. I've had like my whole team with me because I was coaching, 3, 4 lifters at the time. And we come in, and these women were like, Janine Whitaker is blowing 585 off the floor. We had Heidi Hauer, we had Laura, Phelps Sweat, we had Amy Weisberger. All these world record holders are all in the gym all together. It was like nuts. And she got to see that at a high level. And Shane kind of told me, he's like, "Hey, if you come here, he's like, you'll deadlift 1,000 pounds and you'll total 2,000 in 2 years." And we left the gym, right? We pull out of the gym, and on the road back, me and Heidi, we literally have a notepad. And as we pass businesses, we're writing, this business is here, where this business is here.
Are they hiring?
Yeah. So we get home and we start up doing the same thing I was doing in Columbus. I was trying to get a job in Columbus because I just got out of college and stuff. And we started applying to all of those businesses right along this road. And
Why? Why, may I ask?
just because we had to, I had to have a form to make.
So we lived 4 hours away at the
Oh
time.
yeah, we lived in
We lived in
Evansville.
Indiana, and so to move here, Shane invited us to train at the gym. So we were looking for a job within our fields.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, so I was
So,
trying to go from Evansville to Cincinnati, and I got a job pretty quick. I got a job
Across the
almost,
street from the gym.
yeah, literally pretty much across the street.
Yes.
My degree was in healthcare leadership and management, and I got into travel nurse recruiting.
wow.
And then I don't know, was it 2 months, 3 months later?
2 months later, I got a job like a half a mile away from that with something that wasn't in my degree, but something that
Yeah.
I was still interested in. So I'm a microscopy analyst. And so we got hired on there. And then now we found a house about 2 miles away from the gym. So our entire world is within like 5 miles.
Yeah, like when we get, the furthest trip we drive on a day pretty much. Now I drive a little bit more because I'm in the financial world,
Yeah.
but for a long time we didn't drive but 5 miles a day, and that's back from to and work.
Yeah.
So
So
you drove only within 5 miles?
yeah, like we live right here on pretty much Cornell, and everything is off Cornell. So
We have to drive
Amazing.
further. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So,
we
so
moved
you,
states for the gym.
Well, yeah, we moved states to come here to the sweatshop. And yeah, we've been
wow.
here ever since. But we moved here because Shane Sweat, he has over 200 world records. I mean, his former wife, she was at the time the only female ever to total 11 times her body weight. And then our gym actually got the second in cassette Neely. So there's a ton of just incredible things. We've had multiple women deadlift over 600 pounds. We're hoping to get Heidi over 500 here very soon. So we'll see. We're just now getting into prep. So
Yeah.
Okay. So you moved states just so you can train in the gym.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay, so I heard you say your degree is in healthcare leadership and management, and you were in Marine Corps. Thank you for your service.
appreciate it.
And then you were an athlete and you did powerlifting, and then after you got your degree, you were managing travel nurses, and then financial. So tie in that.
Yeah, so Travel nurses travel for a variety of reasons. A lot of times it's to pay off school loans. Sometimes it's just to make more money, because they get per diem and stuff. And as sad as it is, some of these travel nurses, they make, 100, 125, $150,000 a year, which is good money. Some of them have spouses. And it was kind of an eye opener when I had a nurse he tried to retire. So he stopped traveling. He went to retire, and he called me back like a month later and he says, Ben, I can't retire. I got to go back to work. And I was just like, oh man, this is not good. And then I started seeing multiple travel nurses, 60 years old, no money in retirement. Their social securities are going to be a little lower because their taxable range is lower. So basically, when a travel nurse, she may be making, or they could be making 50, 60, $70 an hour. But if the per diem of that city is, say, 1,500, they may be only taxed on 19. So the government is only going to take 6.6 of that 19, and they're going to average that over 35 years. And basically what that's going to do is it's going to lower that social security from, where it would be maybe 28 or 3,000 or 2,600, whatever that could be, and they're going to be getting 2,000 and 2,100. And then because they're traveling with different agencies, they don't have any 401ks, and with no 401k, there's no personal savings. So then how do you maneuver that retirement picture? And what I kind of started doing is my natural curiosity. I just started looking into, you know, different things, trying to learn about, the stock market. Because honestly, I kind of thought the stock market was fugazi. It was, you see some of the things, you see the 2008, crash. It's like, what's real? None of this stuff. I don't understand any of it. And then once you start getting some certifications, I think they kind of sell your information. And then I started getting some, you know, different companies. They kind of call you and they say, "Hey, are you interested in this?" And I found LFG. It fits right along with all of my planning, because
Core values.
yeah, it's like my core values. I believe very big into balance sheets, knowing what your assets are versus what your liability is, and then what is your cash flow, like how much money do you have coming in, where is that money going, and then on top of that, how are you going to protect those said assets, so it fit right into my exactly how I believe. The people are amazing. And so I initially went out, and then the first thing I started doing is I started calling all of my former travel nurses that had just left, and I started bringing them in and mostly working with their cash flow management and, saving. That the big thing is saving. If you can save 15% of your money, you have options. If you don't save any of your money, you have this long runway. I know we kind of talked about, I'm trying to bench 1,000 pounds. I don't have to bench 1,000 pounds tomorrow. I don't have to bench 1,000 pounds next month. I don't have to bench 1,000 pounds the month after that. But eventually, I am going to bench 1,000 pounds, just like eventually I'm going to want to start retirement. And I have a plan that goes that way. And sometimes life happens, like in financial world, your car engine blows up. You're driving down the road and someone runs a stop sign and hits your car, and now your car's totaled. Well, your car was paid off, but now you have to take a little bit of a car payment out just to, get to work, or, whatever life event happens. I could get to a meet and just barely misgroove these things because the weights are so heavy, 1/2 inch forward or back, you're not getting it. So if that happens, that's fine. We readjust, find the weak muscles and build them up, and then we'll make a plan and then pick another date out and then go toward that. Just like you know, we kind of talk about her. She's actually probably a better example of it than I am. You know, after her first kid, she had a like pretty much a identity meltdown. You know, she identified as a powerlifter, and now she's no longer a powerlifter, she's a mom. And we kind of went through that process where you lost your identity, and you know, we didn't really know how to do it. So we had to kind of develop a plan and kind of get her built back up. You know, you could talk about that. But then when we had the second kid, we'd already known, like, okay, look, here's what happened the first kid. Let's go ahead and let's just pick something out. And I just picked a date, and I was like, here's a local competition. Let's go ahead and jump into it. She's like, well, what weight class? It's like, doesn't matter. Just you got to get something in. Just do it. Just get it in. And even in that meet, she had done really well. She was in a 3-place tie. It was the most competitive weight class at that meet, all 3 of them. So the way strongman works is if you win an event, say there's 3 people. If you win an event, you get 3 points.
Mhm.
If you get second, you get 2. And if you get third, you get 1. And at the end of the meet, whoever has the most points wins. Well, going into the last event, they were all 3 of them at like 12 points.
Yeah, it was a
So
three-way tie.
it was a 3-way tie. So you're literally looking at like a 3-way race. Whoever wins this, you know, this last event wins the whole thing. And you know, the last event didn't go our way. The CAG she just had trouble kind of getting the groove and getting it over the thing. And I said, don't worry about it. It was great. What more could you want? Like you're in
3
the,
months. It's 12 weeks after I had the baby, I did a competition.
yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow.
And I was able to be competitive. You know, I was able to win a few events and
12 weeks?
12 weeks.
Oh my God.
So I gave myself the very first month, I just gave myself a goal of getting moving. And then after
Then,
that, I wanted to pick out something because I'd never done strongman before. So I wanted to pick
so,
something
so the
out.
first month you wanted to just move. So
Mhm.
take me through the process. Like what, so after this is after the second baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, after both babies, I went right back to the gym. I took a week off with both babies and I was back in. Um,
Both are vaginal or C-section?
Vaginal.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, thankfully I didn't have to get cut open.
Yeah.
Um,
So 1 week off and then you're back in the gym. Okay.
yeah, but I was doing things differently with my second baby because I wanted to still move, but not try to compare myself to any other time in my life. And so I had never done strongman, so I decided if I train for that, I can still work hard, but I won't be too hard on myself because I've never done it. I have nothing to beat. I have nothing. I just
Mm-hmm.
do my best, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to focus on training and also take care of myself well enough to go in and be in a 3-way tie until the last event.
Wow. So I know you went through it fast. For somebody um who has delivered 2 babies or even 1 baby, and what would you tell them if they want to pursue what you were doing? You said just move. Like, explain
Right.
to me what is movement?
Um, just trying to go up and down the stairs a
Ah.
little bit more often than was necessary. Um, just moving. I did a lot of like air squats or pick the baby up, do a bunch of curls. So in the gym, I did a lot of body weight stuff. I aimed to do like push-ups and pull up. I wasn't able to do pull-ups, but assisted pull-ups and things like that that weren't too hard on your body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did lift some weights against some advice, but I like to lift weights. And the whole time I was pregnant, I continued to lift. I just adjusted how I lifted.
That's key. You
Yes.
adjusted how you lifted. So
Mhm.
yeah, the listeners pay attention that she, even though she wanted to lift, she was adjusting how she can lift even when she was pregnant. And she listened to the body, right?
And I was always told that, and I thought that was bogus advice. But when you are pregnant, if it's something that you have been doing, your body will tell you, "Oh, this feels weird," right? Or this feels good. And so I had to adjust the way that I looked at my workouts, and some of the movements that I did. But
Yes.
I was able to still lift,
Yeah.
and train.
And I'll tell you this too. When she was pregnant, she got really strong. Even on our first kid, um, was it the day he was born? Or no, the
It was
day
the
he was
day he was
supposed to be
supposed to be
born.
born. So my firstborn was 9 days late.
Yeah.
And so the day that he was supposed to be born, we had a bench session.
Yeah. And I had her put a slingshot on, which is like a rubber band, and she benched 315 pounds pregnant. And like the video, I don't know how it hasn't went viral. It's crazy because she comes down and she goes and she gets it. And I go to like, good, rack it. And she's like, no, I'm going to take it for a double.
Yeah, I was so confident. I thought I could do it again.
And
But
we did have, that is something that probably is not recommended because like when you're straining, you can feel the baby pushing too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, they tell you not to lay on your back for too long, and certain movements that they don't advise to do. They don't want you to strain.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so one was probably smarter than trying to take that for 2 reps. But
yeah, yeah,
And the other
yeah.
thing I noticed too, especially when you're pregnant, you don't have as many attempts. So, like for her, when she would kind of get into what we would call like the 90% range, she only had two, where normally now she could take it maybe four times. So she could take 90, 92, 95, maybe 97 and 100 or, whatever.
yeah.
With her, when she was pregnant, we had like a 90 and then 100
Yeah.
because there,
My
there was
ability
no
to
third.
strain was way lower.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to struggle or strain because any small shimmy would have bigger ramifications.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
So we
yeah, yeah.
did adjust training a lot when she was doing that. And then really the other thing that we noticed that I had to learn after the first one was just, like pelvic floor. I'm sure you can
Yes.
talk about that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the first time when she came back, we were doing like very basic, barbell movements and single loin joints, but she had done GHRs. I think you did like 100 GHRs in a row,
Yeah, I
glute
did.
ham raise. She could do 100 glute ham raises, but her pelvic floor was weak and she was losing all of this power on the floor. And I took her to a friend of mine who actually is technically her coach now. We kind of build her program. You don't really ever want to train your spouse because if I write something terrible, I have to come home and live with it. But
Thank
if
you
he
for
writes
saying that.
something
Yes.
terrible, it's not my fault. Call him.
Yep, yep, yep,
Probably
but
saved our
exactly.
relationship.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so he kind of talked a lot about, more single joint stuff to kind of build up the hips. And now, when you watch her move, you just look at her movement patterns and they're just very solid.
Wow. So when you said it went viral, do you have a page that you post where you inspire other?
Well, I have an Instagram profile where I post my workouts. I put like 20 seconds where I put like 1 rep of every single movement that I try to do. And a lot of that is so my coach can see how I'm moving and if I'm
That's
doing what he meant me to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what is your profile?
Heidi Dewig. It's just my first name and last name
Oh,
is
nice.
my Instagram handle.
Okay. Okay, first name and last name. Okay, perfect. I'm sure it'll inspire others.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I haven't, it's pretty recent. I don't have all the videos lifting from when I was pregnant. I have some videos when I was pregnant, but not for my first baby. So,
She was
Wow.
kind of antisocial. I kind of forced her to do that because, like,
Encouraged her. You encouraged her.
yeah,
encouraged. Yeah.
encouraged. Basically, the reason I thought that is, especially when you start accomplishing things, people kind of like to rally behind people. If they see what you're doing, and the other thing about like Instagram, that's why she does all the clips. The thing about Instagram is you're only seeing maybe a 10-second clip of somebody, but you're not really seeing all of it. So like she's doing like a little like this is our first movement. Maybe we bench and then we do a dumbbell bench, but then we're doing pull-ups, we're doing dips, we're doing tricep extensions, we're doing the floor push-ups, the Russian push-ups, and it's like you get to kind of see a little bit. But it's so hard on Instagram to see like an
Yeah,
actual thing
yeah,
in 30 seconds.
yeah. So whoever is watching, the listeners, please listen to your coach. Use Heidi's videos as a inspiration, um, and listen to your body. If it
Yes, and
does
trust the process.
trust the
Yes.
process. Yes, you're talking my language, Heidi. Yes.
If you set a
Okay.
plan, stick to it and see it all the way through, because
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that is something we can talk about too, because you know, sometimes I mean, I'll even be a big example. I did a professional powerlifting meet in where was that? Owensboro, right? Owensboro, Kentucky. And I kind of started in, the powerlifting equipment, and I kind of set this plan, and honestly, it probably really couldn't have went worse. I couldn't get down in the squat because the gear was binding up. And so in powerlifting, if you don't get three white lights or two white lights, really, because you have to reach a parallel. So your hip crease has to be below your knee. And I got called for depth. Well, once you get called 3 attempts in a meet, you bomb out.
Mm,
Well, I had bombed out of the squat because I couldn't get to what they would call regulation depth.
mm.
Basically, because my plan had not allowed me really, I just never got to it in the
well, he
plan.
kept
And
changing the plan. Because
yeah,
Say it
because we
again.
are he was changing his plan because like the gym that we go to is all high level lifters, and so everyone has really good ideas and everyone is right, but not everybody can be right all the time. So you have to kind of pick one path and stick to it. And I think you took a lot of people's advice because it was
yeah,
valid and good.
yeah. So
Wow.
then
Oh my
you
God.
got,
Hold on, hold on. So that is you are putting lots of nuggets there. So he took everyone's advice. Not everyone can be right all the time.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like what they're saying is still accurate, but you can't do everything.
yeah,
Yes. So this is great. So Ben, now I want you to tell me this is great segue what Heidi just said. Everyone can be right all the time. So what is, in your opinion, because you're a power lifter and a financial representative, so how can somebody uh, build a plan and stick to it, and then that they can implement and know they are going to succeed, whether it is weightlifting or in financial field?
yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of like the thing is like in powerlifting, you build a plan. For instance, we'll go back to her. So right
Mhm.
now, the world record is 15:04. Right, when's the meet? November.
November 22nd is, I mean, I'm
So
looking.
we have a date, November 22nd. So this is the goal to total 15:10, November 22nd. Now, in order to do that, we're going to have to squat over 600 pounds, right? So there's the first goal. So how to build the squat up to 300, 600 pounds. Also, we're going to have to bench over 400 pounds, right? So probably somewhere around the 440 range. So we have to build the bench over 400. And then the deadlift is going to have to be 450 or larger in order to hit 1510. So there's our goal, 1465. I would look at pick dates and pick dates along that line to say, like, okay, this is how much I want in my savings account at certain time. This is how much I want in my tax-free bucket at one point in time. And then I want my long-term bucket, that 14, 15, 10, to be at this level. And just pick a date and then run it through. Because we can pretty much, honestly map. We can't really pick on the investment side, but like our level of savings, that's pretty calculable. If you're like, I can realistically save $150 a month. And at the end of the year, if I've saved that much, here's my total. The problem is we can only control the controllables. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you. Yes.
So you
Yeah.
try to limit the things that you can control. Like for her, we can control. like the red light therapy that, increases, it's been proven to increase strength. There was a study done, I think in Switzerland or England. I should really pull this up, but they had 18 or 8 and 8 people. So 8 people in a control group, 8 people in a red light group. And the people, which is just the red colored light, they had gained an average of 4.5 bicep curls per individual. So on the average was 4.5. But on the red light, they gained an average of 12.5. So we have this red light thing. We sit in front of it 20 minutes every day because there's studies that show it works. We try to make sure our nutrition. She's got a nutrition plan of, this many grams per protein, this many grams per fat, this many, carbohydrates. I know the carbohydrates waves, but she tries to hit these totals every day. We try to make sure we get enough water every day. We try to make sure we get 8 hours of sleep every day. I
Mm.
can't have, I can't really help if maybe a training partner misses that day. I can only get maybe I can only get what I can that day. That's kind of like your investments. Maybe
Mm.
the investments aren't going to be there this year or next year. You can't really control that. You can only control your rate of savings. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we build this plan of, here's what we have this time, here's what we have this time, and we're going to control our nutrition. So we're going to control the things that we can control. And then we're going to set this November 22 date and we'll see where we hit. If we hit it, that's awesome. We'll set another goal. If we come up just shy, we're going to see why we came up shy and then we'll correct it and then take another run at it.
That is awesome. That is exactly what I coach as well. You hit all the points when you said you can only control the things what you can control. That's right. Because we can only control ourselves. Otherwise, like, people will be like, well, this person said this to me. How can they say this to me? Well, the weather was not conducive. I'm like, those are the things that is outside of our control. And when you said sleep, nutrition, water, red light therapy, am I missing anything?
I mean, I
Just
mean,
recovery in general.
yeah. I
Recovery,
mean,
yes.
there's a lot of tools that you can do.
Yeah,
Like I said, we do all these things on a very daily basis.
yeah.
Sometimes people think that you're kind of fibbing, but like I said, this wall is our recovery wall. Like I said, we got the red light right behind us. I got the ultrasound.
Sure,
We have,
sure. So the red light doesn't have to be fancy. Can you switch it on
Yeah.
and
yeah, I mean, yes, this is the one from,
Panel.
yeah, this is the one from Mito Red. We got this from, I think Dr. Ken was the one that
Yeah, Dr.
recommended
Ken
this one.
Kanakin. And then I'll turn it over this way.
And this one's essentially a red light with NIR.
wow.
And we just pretty much sit in front of
I
it
don't want to blind you, but
on a blind. But yeah, so I ran an experiment with myself and my vitamin D levels, I was taking 40,000 IUs of vitamin D, and my levels were like around 140. And this is shortly after I got injured. I stopped taking the vitamin D and just sit in front of the red light for 20 minutes a day. When
Mm.
I got out of it, I took blood work and my vitamin D levels had jumped over 200, almost doubled. And it was crazy to me. Now, I think it could be because of the NIR, but I also contributed to the red light. But it was a controllable that I controlled and I saw the results. And because I see the results, now I'm always going to do that.
Yes, and that is another thing you mentioned. We learn from it, right? So if something does not work, what can we learn from it and then implement it, or maybe change the plan, just one aspect of it, and then move on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You are so tiny and you're so powerful, Heidi. When you just stood up, I was like, man, she is just power packed. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Like, you are
thank you.
inspiring so many women. You're inspiring me for sure. Yes. Okay, this is cool. So you also mentioned even if somebody is saving $150 a month in savings, and it depends, right? Like for you, you said you would you suggest, I mean, the $150 in savings, if somebody has not saved until age 60, it's going to be different than somebody who is at age 20 or 23. And if they are saving that, that varies, correct?
Well, and here's the other,
Sustainable.
the other thing is like, here's another thing. So, like diets. I could give you the absolute scientifically best diet in the world. But if you can't eat the food, then you're not going to stick with it. Like if I have to eat ice cream, if I'm just gonna like I have to cheat every once in a while. If I'm gonna get ice cream, I need to build it into my plan. Just
Yes.
like financially. If you know, are a single mom and you got two kids and you have this mortgage or this rent and you have to pay for food, maybe you can only save $15. Maybe it's 25, but you need to figure out what you can do. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like we make time in the gym, but not everyone can spend as much time in the gym that we can. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that gym time is only 30 minutes a day. Maybe it's 30 minutes 3 times a week, right? You just figure out how to fit what you need to get in, and then you set that plan in place, and then you go forth and achieve that plan. You know,
Consistency is more important.
yeah,
Yes.
consistency is the science. You know, compliance is the science, if you would. Like if you can actually do it, then it's sustainable. A lot of times, people they jump in and then life happens. And I say all the time, like, some of these guys that are in our powerlifting group, they feel bad. They're like, man, I missed a workout. And I'm like, that's fine. And they're like, well, you're supposed to be, pushing me to get these. And I'm like, as much as I love powerlifting, I think she likes it maybe a little bit more than I do. Your family's actually first because like no one's really ever going to, no one, no one's really ever going to care what I do in the gym. Like even if I bench 1,000, no one's really going to
Right.
care when I bench 1,000. No one's ever going to care about that except maybe me. My kids are only going to be 4 years and 1 year old. Like this is it.
Yeah.
They get older every single day,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is like I tell them, like, family comes first. And then, if we have to adjust our schedules, we can do that. But family is always first.
You guys are so inspiring and so grounded. Oh my God, I love you guys both. Okay, so I'm sure you have those days where you don't feel motivated. How do you stay motivated? I'm going to
There's
start
a
with
question for
Heidi.
you.
Yeah.
Well, that's where consistency comes in. Like some of my best days in the gym started off with me feeling the worst. And I just commit, I decide to do my best, and your best varies every day. Your best, your best when you're sick is just showing up sometimes.
Oh, mm,
So just show up and you do what you can and get whatever kind of win that you can get and go home and be grateful and be happy.
I say sometimes like that. I call it, this going to the gym or eating your food at this time. That's like that savings account. You know what I mean? Like that is the rent is due. Like it doesn't really matter how much you do in the gym. It's the accumulation of work that gets you to where you want to go. Maybe that accumulation's a little bit less today than it was yesterday, but doing something is going to get you where you want to go. If you stop and you like, I always say you're either moving forwards or you're moving backwards. You know what I mean? A one step forward or a half a step forward is still forward.
That was kind of the mindset I had right after I had the baby, was just doing anything is better than
yes.
doing nothing. If all I can do is walk up and down the stairs or do a couple lunges in between commercial breaks or, feeding sessions, then
Yes.
that's still a win because it's more than I would have done.
Mhm.
So do you work as well, or
I
you
work full
stayed at
time.
home? You were full time. You worked full time,
Hmm.
even after the first baby?
Yeah.
And you did, oh my God. What did
Yeah.
you
So
do?
I
What do
I
you
work
do?
I'm a microscopy analyst, so I work in an industrial hygiene lab, and my work is awesome. They are super flexible, and as long as I am consistent, as long as I follow through with what I say I'm going to do, they're fine with me having such a weird schedule. And I tend to work nights and weekends. whenever he's not in the office, I am. So we have a babysitter. It's his training partner's daughter that she comes in 3 or 4 times a week where we all go to the gym and she watches the kids.
Oh,
And then
nice.
the rest of the time I usually am at work. And as long as the work gets done, they're happy.
And
Yeah.
that's something too that I say this all the time when you're trying to raise kids. I think sometimes people think what we say is what the kids will do, but they learn from you. Because
Yes,
when I was
they
doing the
see.
strongman
Mhm.
meets, my 1-year-old, he would constantly do the same events that I would do. So I'm picking these 400-pound Atlas stones up and loading them on these platforms, and he would go grab the medicine ball and load them onto the bench things. Or, we would do like a power stairs. So he would grab the kettlebells and load them up onto the bench thing.
We used to bring them
Oh,
to the gym with us.
Yeah.
But now that there's 2, that's hard.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
like I
yeah.
say all the time, like it was weird because like when we had kids, I actually started lifting to set an example for the kids because I'm kind of always somewhat worried about like, you know, I realize that I'm setting the example for my boys. Leaders lead from the front. So if I don't have goals and I don't show them how to achieve said goals, then how are my kids going to know how to do that? You know what I'm
And if
saying?
I give up when things get hard, they learn that.
Hmm.
So even though it's hard, that doesn't mean it's not doable. Like when I first started picking up for my strongman meet,
Yeah.
when I first started picking up the stone, I couldn't move it off the ground. But I didn't give up. I just trusted that, Christian Mello knew what he was doing, and I got a world record out of it 8 weeks later.
Wow, you say it like it's nothing. Man, she won a world record. We are talking to a world record holder there. Oh
Yeah,
my
but
God.
in 8 weeks, I literally could not
Yes.
pick it up. And in that time, I was able to pick it up so well that I picked it up better than everybody else.
That
I just trusted and continued to do the work every day,
it
even when it didn't feel good.
it was kind of a funny story because
You told me to give up.
because I didn't tell you to give up. I said we'll focus on another event.
Yeah.
But basically, what in strongman, you're always trying to win 3 events. You have 5 to pick from. Pick the 3 that you're going to do, and go do that. Well, I was doing business drop ins for the financial stuff, and I was going to these different businesses, and I go to one and I look across the street, and it's like a tile place that was
Like a
like a
landscaping.
landscaping thing. And I go in there and, I give them my spiel like, hey, I'm Ben, the financial guy, and I can help you with X, Y, and Z. And he says, okay, I'm done with you. And I said, no, I actually am also here because I need a rock. And he looked at me in the strangest eyes that you can do. And I was like, yeah, so we're training for this international strongman meet and we have to carry the stone as far as we can do it. And I'm looking for, somewhere in 140 to 160 pound stone so that we can train on it. And I go with the guy, I find this stone. He says it's 160 pounds. I said, well, they weigh it on like a little truck.
I think it's 140.
Yeah, 140,
Mm.
whatever it was. So when we come back to the gym, I had set it on, I texted her, I was like, hey, I bought you another rock, but this one's bigger. And we go to set it on the ground and she couldn't pick it up. And I was like, man, if this thing's supposed to be 140 pounds and we're going to have to do a 208, I was like, maybe it's just better we find the other events, we'll win those, and we'll just work on this on the side. Well, we weighed it and it weighed 206, I think.
206.
It weighed 206 pounds. So I was like, okay. But so she couldn't pick up at 206. And we kind of built,
Not yet. Not
not
yet.
yet. And
Yes.
we went through and I said, okay, well, to do this, you're going to have to start doing heavier rows. You're going to be able to have to row
Mhm.
200 pounds for reps because it's a 208-pound stone. So we started building these other side exercises up. And then she was able to like pick it up.
I moved it this far off the ground.
Yeah.
Wow.
The next time I tried it, I moved it.
Yeah. So she
Wow.
still couldn't lap it yet, but we were able to move it. Okay. So that was step 1. So then we went back to building the muscles that she needed to do
Oof.
to build this up. Then she went and she lapped it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
so
set
she
set
she stands up and sits in our lap and kind of sits down with the stone in her lap. And I said, okay. So then we went back to building, the hamstrings, the glutes, the back. And then she did it for reps. So picked it up, lapped it, set it back down. Picked it up, lapped it, set it back down.
So
And
every
then,
time you have to build the muscles
mhm,
for your body to do that action, right? So when she
yeah,
lapped it, she's building the muscles, specific set of muscles.
Yeah.
yeah,
But I'm also trying to build all my other muscles for the other events too.
yeah,
Correct.
So
Correct.
I'm just doing more work. I'm accumulation of volume.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so basically, we stood up with it to lap it, and then we did sets of 3, and then we stood up, we lapped it, and then stood with it. Once we did that, we knew we could walk with it. Even if we moved 2 feet or 3 feet, we knew we could walk with it. So we went back, and I think it was what, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out.
Yeah, around 2 weeks.
Yeah, so it was
I
like
tried
two.
So
with it for
within
the
two
first time.
weeks, you were able to do that? Like getting up within?
Well,
Well, from getting the stone and being able to walk with it, I think was 6 weeks.
Okay,
yeah,
okay, okay, okay.
And
Again,
so 2 weeks from the
everybody's
competition.
journey is different.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then, like 2 weeks from the competition, we're like, okay, let's see what we can do. We're actually going to try and walk with it. And I remember very vividly because I got the whole group because I was like, everybody needs to be crazy. Like everyone be super supportive, like say whatever
Yeah.
you have to do. Because I was like, we don't
That's a video
know.
I wish I would have posted.
We're like, we don't know what's about to happen, right? We've never done this
But
before. We're,
we know something amazing is going to
Yeah.
happen.
yeah. And she picked it. She lapped the stone. She kind of got her hands situated where we had practiced, and then she stood up. And as soon as she stood up and started walking with it, she was in perfect position. And we walked. I think it was like 75 feet the first time we'd ever done it.
Yeah.
And I straight up told everybody in the gym. I said nobody at that body weight at 139 pounds has ever walked a 208-pound stone that I can find. I said, so that right there is already a world record. And obviously it took a lot more to do that, but
Yeah.
when we got to the meet, we had already had, a couple events, and we went, and I kind of told the organizer, I said, we're going to do the 208, and I'm pretty much guaranteeing a world record on this. And he says, okay. And I was like,
Yeah.
we've,
They initially had me doing a lighter stone because my weight class was lower. So they wanted me to do a lighter stone.
yeah,
And we asked if we could do the heavier stone
to set the world
to
record.
get the world record.
And so then, so basically I told him, I was like, look,
Because
this,
they underestimated
Yeah.
yours. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my
But they let me,
God.
which is
yeah.
amazing of the directors to say, yeah, sure, do something harder. Why not?
Yeah. So when we got it, so she picked, at the competition when she went, because the stones are all different. And we were and I was the whole time. So she's sitting down and I'm picking this stone up, like 60 different ways, trying to figure out what the easiest way of doing this is.
I'm over in the corner with my eyes closed, just like visualizing, not talking to anybody, not being social.
Yeah. So then when she comes over, we have her do it. And she kind of like struggles. And then finally we just found this one groove that she could grab the stone, because at 208 pounds, it's hard to even hold with just cupping your hands. And she was able to kind of lap it and then get her arms underneath it and stand. And I knew once she stands with it, it's a done deal because we're going to walk with it. And so I took a picture of how I set the stone. So I'm like, okay, I got it. It's got the, it says 208 on it. So the 8 has to be forward. And so when she went up, I positioned the stone exactly where she needed, and she picked the stone up. And for some reason, she had trouble kind of getting her arms right. But then once she stood up, she walked 184 feet. So all the way down, all the way back, all the way down, almost all the way back. And the second female to do it carried it 134 feet, I
The
think.
second closest female. She was 40 pounds heavier and she carried it, I think, around 130.
Yeah. And then everyone else was like way below it. So we have the record by like 50 something feet.
Yeah. So it
I
should
am
stand
so
for.
happy. I am
And
so happy that I'm talking to you and you are inspiring not only me, so many more. You're going to do amazing things.
Thank
And
you.
your energy is awesome. I'm super, super grateful that you are sharing all of this. You have no idea how many people you're going to inspire.
Thank you.
I am so happy for you. I'm getting goosebumps as he's explaining. I'm like, oh my God, it's like watching a movie. I'm like sitting at the edge of the seat. Oh my God, this is amazing. And if you have not thought of writing a book, that'll be amazing too. So you will inspire so many more people. Your age and being a mom. I mean, how balanced that is. You're
Yeah,
a mom
it took a long time to figure out how to
yes,
balance.
but
Once I
you're
got through the identity crisis, we did really well.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I mean, balancing the work, your full-time job, and being a mom and pursuing your passion to be a
Mhm,
power lifter, and having a supportive husband like that, like
Mhm.
Ben.
that makes all the difference.
Yeah,
You know, being able to have a schedule with my work that where we can work in
yes.
tandem. We don't have to the kids to daycare. We watch them. Him
Yeah.
supporting my crazy ideas when I wanna walk around with big rocks.
Well, that was
Was
funny too because so I had actually kind of signed her up. This is probably a mistake on the marriage end, but so basically, it had come up because I had finished third at the last international meet, and they said, we want you to represent America in this one. I said, okay, I'll go and I'll sign up. But I was like, if you guys can, my wife just did this one. She's pretty good. I think she can do it at 64 kilograms. And the guy, I sent him a video, and he says, yeah, yeah, we don't have an American representative, so we'll go ahead and take her. And
at this
all
time, I was still big from having my first baby, so I was 168 pounds when he signed me up for the 140-pound weight class, by the way.
And now at that point, when we were like 6 months out, she was, yeah, yeah, I'll do it, no problem. But then as the meet comes closer and the stress levels go up, and especially, when we had struggled, like there's points in time where we couldn't do any of the weights in the meets because these meets are so heavy. And she's like, you could ask me next time you sign me up for one of these meets. And I was like, oh, I didn't think about that, but you're probably right. But she's like, well, you don't get me any of these equipments because I'm buying, powerlifting shirts for me and the squat suits. And I was like, once we got into the thing, I was like, okay, I bought her the Strongman belt, bought her the knee wraps, the knee sleeves, took her and got her the grip shirt. And, she's just like, you can ask me next time you sign me up for something.
But it forced me because when I agreed to it, now I have to follow through.
Mm,
Even if I don't want to do it, I'm going to follow through to my word and I'm going to do my best. And I never expected a world record. I didn't know that was possible until I tried. So
yes.
I'm glad that you believed in me,
Yes.
more than I even knew I was
Yeah.
capable of.
It's a team effort. It's like you not only tried, you believed in yourself, and your husband believed in you, and you took baby steps, even if
Mhm,
it is quarter of a step, like Ben said, and consistency all plays a role. Discipline, consistency, believing
mhm,
in ourselves, and surrounding ourselves with people who support us, and keeping our mind set in a place where it helps us to keep growing, right? And you were doing, I mean, when Ben was talking about she was sitting in the corner, she was, and I mean, those are all the things athletes do to not only prove to others, prove to themselves that they can do it. I am so
mhm.
happy that I get to talk to you. And oh my God, I know I said it before, but I am super happy and super grateful. And you are inspiring so many more. You're going to inspire so many more when it is on all of the podcast channels. Okay. Whew, man, that is so inspiring. So all the athletes out there who are thinking that they can't do it, because you're a mom, or because you've given birth, or you've gained some pounds, or because somebody said you can't, you know, take Heidi as an example and have I am happy to help any athlete who is that determined, because that's what I do. I am an empowerment coach who empowers people, and I'm happy to, I mean, people like Heidi, it'll be easy for me. My job would be easy because they are so focused. And
Well, I wish I had known you whenever I had my first baby, because with my first baby, I had to do so much experimenting to kind of find that balance.
yeah.
And it
But
was a
look at
long
you.
time.
Look at you. You did
And
it.
I found it. Yep, I found it.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I think a lot of times what I see, especially with some of the athletes that, I do work with, it people get taught that failure is a bad thing. They say it's you either are successful or you're a failure. But really, and I've told you this a million times, like to fail, the fail stands for first attempt in learning.
Yes,
Like
as
simply
long as we
because
learn from the setbacks
Mhm.
and
yeah,
implement what we have learned, that is only going to help us move forward rather than sitting and having a pity party, right? And
Yeah.
this is one of the things my brother told me when I got divorced and I was like sitting there crying. And my brother told me this. He's like, give yourself permission. If you choose to cry, you can cry for 5 minutes, you can cry for 10 minutes. Give yourself permission to cry. After that 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever you choose, get up, do not look back, keep moving forward. And to this
Moving
day, I
forward.
think about it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
because
I
it's okay. It's okay as a human to feel sorry. Yes, okay, Aruna, I did this. Feel sorry. But then after that, that few minutes, do not look back. Just keep looking at what you're going to do and keep moving forward, because
Make a
like you said,
conscious decision to keep moving forward
yes,
and not dwell.
consistent. Yes, yes, being integrous with whatever decision you're making and take aligned action. Oh my God. Yes. Okay,
she
I'm so
actually thought
pumped.
she actually thought I was crazy because there was a point in time where I would tell you, like, give yourself permission to do these things.
Yes.
Like,
I was very hard on myself, and I still probably am too hard, but
and
I
I
did
would
not give myself any grace.
I'm a big believer of like writing things down or, setting said goal. Like I don't care what it is. Like it's to buy a house. Okay, this is the goal to buy a house. Now, how are
Yes.
we going to get there? Any person that I sat down with the first time, I kind of talk about, my process, what it is I do. But the next question is, what are your goals? Because I've always been a guy like you give me goals and I will find the path to get you there.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And that's what you follow with your weightlifting and in your financial career too. So
Mhm.
with you, I'm gonna ask Ben first, and then Heidi can say this. Um, before we wrap it up. Okay, I've got two questions. The first question is, what is one thing that others value that you do not? Ben first.
Um, I don't think that most people that I meet value goals near as much as me. I'm, I think, you know, this can get kind of controversial, but one of the things that I was kind of told her was like, you have to set a goal
What
because once you achieve that goal, that gives you the dopamine rush. You know what I'm saying? Like if you kind of go through life, without the goal and you're just trying to, live till tomorrow, you're not really living, you're surviving. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like you kind of always have something to go toward. And I feel like in today, we don't really have to fight for life anymore. If we want water, we go to the sink. If we want food, we go to the grocery store. It wasn't that long ago, like 100 years ago, that if you wanted to take a shower, you had to go to the creek and heat up the water and you had to pour it over your, and like that really wasn't that long ago. And today, the way we live is amazing. I'm not saying anything bad, but you lose that kind of thing. I think everyone should set a goal, whatever it is, and then formulate said steps to get to that goal. Like, if the end goal is to buy a house in 1 month, let's do this, let's save this. Like, I have to have 25% of a down payment. What is that number? Let's set a goal and let's break it down over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, well, however long it is. It didn't take me 1 year to get to a 700-pound bench. I've been doing this for 20 years.
Exactly.
Everyone kind of likes the quick, like,
Yes,
give
instant
me the results now.
gratification.
What can I take to feel good? Like, even with like the injury, they're like, well, what can I take to make it come back? It's like, look, I tore my quad in January and had surgery on the 10th, and it's been a long, long road back. I mean, I kind of make fun of I used to be able to jump onto a 40-inch box, and now I can barely jump over a Snicker bar. You know what I mean? Like I have to take all those steps to go back forward, but I have goals in my mind. Like right now, I'm in prep for a meet October 25th, and I'm not going to squat, but I'm going to bench and I'm going to deadlift because and I've already pulled 605 pounds.
So he tore his quad in January, by the way. So he had to have complete surgery to reattach it.
Mhm.
That's why you're not squatting. That's
Yeah.
why.
So it's not that I couldn't squat. It's just that, I have this goal. I want
Yeah.
to bench this weight and then I can deadlift, a reasonable amount. So let's go ahead and set these things. And I don't really care where the deadlift is this time. It's just a marking point. It's just like wherever we're at, it's the next competition, just like when she had the baby. It doesn't matter where you're at,
Yep.
right? Just jump in, get it done, and then see where you're at, and we'll build from there. It
Yep.
doesn't matter. Like, yeah, you may have had, $1 million in savings, and then you had surgery or you got hit, and now all these things. And now you're at half, 500. It doesn't matter. Okay, you're at five. How do we get back to there? And
Yes.
that's where I'm in right now.
Yeah, and Heidi, I was telling him, I can certainly help his scar tissue, so he will be able to gain his range of motion. So tell me about what is one thing that others value and you do not.
My answer is going to be pretty similar to Ben's along the lines of hard things. If you
Mm,
do hard things, I don't really care about what it looks like. I care about what it is. So
mm,
even if my workouts are silly or my methods look strange, I don't really care as long as I get the results that I need. I think taking the hard way makes the rest of your life easier. I
mm.
don't really care for the quick fix, the easy way out, the instant gratification. Because if I can make it through something hard, then the rest of my day is easy.
Wow. Okay.
I think that's kind of
Okay.
along the lines of what Ben was saying, but
Mm. Doing hard things now makes your future steps easy. Okay.
yeah.
Um, okay, so now I'm going to ask Heidi first. If you have in your power, no pun intended, if you have in your power to create a principle or a law that is going to be beneficial for everyone, what would that be?
I think it would be something along the lines of paying attention to yourself and tracking what you put into your body and how you treat your body, because there's a lot of people that want to blame external sources or they always have some excuse instead of taking accountability. And I think step one is paying attention to the way that you react. I don't know how that would be implemented into a law though. Just I feel like a lot of people would be a lot healthier if they paid attention to what it is that they ate. Um,
That can be a principle, right? That is a valuable principle that, yeah, what we eat and what we consume, not just consuming, food to eat,
but media.
consuming, yes, what we see,
Yeah.
what we hear, what we absorb. it's important, right? If
Well,
we
he kind of poked fun at me because I didn't want to make a lot of posts on social media, but I would find myself just in this trance. And so
yeah.
now I have all my notifications are off. I'll get on there and I will post my workout, and I will not, I don't like to dwell. I have a timer to where I can't get stuck in the cycle because I get in this bad mental space. It's
Mm.
just you are what you surround yourself with. And if you're constantly looking at negative things or things that aren't good for you, then you just need to pay attention to what you feed your body and what you feed your brain and the actions that you take.
No.
Oh, I love you. I already love you. What is it you, Ben? What is one principle that if it is in your power, what would you create that will benefit everyone?
So on the training side, mine's going to be a little bit more weird. I would outlaw and ban any motor that's on a cardio machine. So
That
like
what machine?
that's on like what you would call cardio machines.
Okay.
So like if you're on a treadmill and the belt moves without you on it, that's no longer going to be legal. Like you have to move the belt. The like those machines, the belt's moving and you're just moving your foot in front of the other. In my opinion, you should go walk in nature. Or if you're
Wow.
on elliptical that's moving or you're on anything that does work for you, it should be outlawed from the gym.
I
I mean,
like
we
it
have a
too.
tread sled. It's essentially a treadmill that actually has a resistance on the belt. So you actually have to produce force to drive it back. Um, I've just noticed that, people do they'll get on the tread, they'll pay for a gym membership and they'll go sit on the treadmill and then they watch TV while they're walking. Just go out into nature and do the walk. Like you're
Yes.
doing more work doing a walk than you are on that belt because you're not
Yes.
even doing anything.
Yeah.
You're just putting your foot and then the belt's moving your foot back for you and you're stepping front. So I know that's kind of silly, but if I was the president of the United States, I would outlaw motored electric,
No,
you
I
know,
love it. I love it, Ben, because I am a big proponent of being in the nature, soaking in all. I totally love it. I love your principle, so I will vote for it. You guys are awesome. You guys are such beautiful couples. You guys are so inspiring. Um, I wish you both all the very best, because I know you guys are making some waves with your presence alone, and just by talking to me and when I publish this, when the listeners are listening, oh my God, I can only see positivity coming out of this. You both are amazing individuals. Thank you so much for all
Thank
that
you
you
for having
do.
us.
Oh, you are welcome, because I can tell everything you do is from the heart and you genuinely care, and you're making a difference in your kids' life, been being that role model, and how those kids watching you grow, as they grow, they are going to make an impact in their surrounding. Oh my God, I'm getting just goosebumps. So keep doing whatever you're doing. And Ben, I like how you're implementing what you do in powerlifting and combining it in your financial world and helping people um, make save some money so they can retire with peace of mind, and that is huge. And so yeah, I can talk for hours, because you guys are awesome people. I will let you go. Anything else that you want to share that I didn't ask?
I mean, no, I just I think the biggest thing when it comes to finances or personal goals is you got to start early. I see it.
Start.
You got to start, but you got to start as soon as you possibly can because it's crazy. This life, it moves too fast. It like I mean, already we feel like we just had Z yesterday and he's already 4 years. It's 4 years have gone by. Even, I still can remember days like when we first moved here. I picked a house, kind of in the middle of a bad part of town. And she's like, have you looked at this place? And I'm like, yeah, it's got a church at the end of the street and it's got a post office. We're going to be great. And, we kind of get there and it's kind of like the bad spot of town. But, it was great. We didn't have any trouble, but it was just, we just kind of like, I'm
We
just
didn't have a plan B.
yeah, there is no plan B. It's only plan A. Set the goal. A lot of times I even talk to people now, some of my nurses still, I talk to them. I'm like, hey, like, you need to do this. They're like, well, I'm not ready. I have credit card debt. I have no money in savings. It's like, you need to start. Like, you got to start early, no matter how bad your situation is now. Every day you wait is one day closer to that time running out. Like I told you, like at some point in time, someone's going to tell you you can no longer work again. You know what I mean? And what are you going to do? At some point in time, someone's going to tell you you can't play. Someone's going to tell me like, hey, this professional weightlifting thing you're doing, you probably need to kind of back it down a little bit, so enjoy the time that you have and start as soon as you can. Start planning, for the future now, because if you put it off till tomorrow, it's going to get put off till the next day. It's going to get put off. I still have people now that, they say, yeah, I'm going to do a meet. There's a guy in the gym. I've been there 8 years, I think, or more than, and I've known him since he was in the gym. He wants to do a bodybuilding show, but he keeps putting it off because he's like, well, I'm not ready yet. It's like, sign up and I will help you, but sign up and hold yourself accountable.
Yes, that's what I say. My tagline is start living now.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much, and I appreciate and thanks to your mom for taking care of your kids
Yes.
while
Yep.
you are inspiring everybody around you. So, thank you both. I appreciate you. Have an awesome, awesome evening and an awesome rest of the year.
Thank you. You too. Nice to
Appreciate
meet
it.
you.
Bye.